Hello and thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about oils, engine oils, um, transmission oils. What are the differences? So the properties of a lubricant is measured by characteristics like viscosity, shear stability, high or low temperatures, performance, water resistance and volatility. Realistically, there are three types of oil: mineral, semi-synthetic and synthetic. Mineral-based oil is simply a heavily refined version of oil sourced from the ground. It is the least expensive and essentially refined crude oil. Now, semi-synthetic oil is a similar substance but is a blend of synthetic and mineral oils, which is priced between synthetic and mineral-based oil. So what is synthetic oil? So synthetic is essentially man-made designed oil with artificial additives that make it more tolerant to extreme temperatures. It's still based on mineral oil, but it will last longer than mineral oil, but is more expensive. Synthetic oils were developed during World War II by a German scientist for use on the Russian front, where they maintained their fluidity in sub-zero temperatures, but were not widely used in cars until the 1970s. Let's talk about viscosity. Viscosity in a general sense is the measure of a liquid's resistance to flow. The viscosity of oil changes with temperature. The SAE, or the Society of Automotive Engineers, scale shows that the viscosity of oil at both hot and cold temperatures. That is why the viscosity grade on the oil bottle is made up of two numbers. So the first number, so in our case we use 5W30, or I think it's 5W30 or maybe 10W30. The first number is followed by W. It describes the viscosity at low temperatures. The W stands for winter. The lower the number, the thinner and easier the flowing of the oil is. This is good in colder climates because it flows better and protects the engine when it's first started. In the case of the 4JX1 engine, the oil needs to flow because it is required to operate the injectors. Too thick an oil and the injectors will not work, and the car will not start, or it will run poorly. Of course, this needs to be balanced with engine lubrication, and that is why using only the manufacturer's recommended oil matters. You must use the manufacturer's oil recommendation. The second number describes how thick the oil is at the engine's normal operating temperature. The higher the second number, the thicker the oil. If it's too thin when hot, it may not protect effectively. If it's too thick, you lose efficiency. So, let's look at a few myths and bust a few myths and answer a few questions. So the first question is, the W in 10W30 stands for weight. Well, this myth is busted because we know that oil viscosity changes with temperature. The multigrade rating gives it both the hot and cold viscosities. 10W represents the oil viscosity during winter use, according to the rating system developed by the Society of Auto Engineers, and that's why the W in 10W30 stands for winter. Myth 2. Synthetic engine oils can wear down seals in an engine and cause leaks. Myth 2 busted. This is an often cited myth. In fact, if your seals and gaskets are in good condition, synthetic oil will not leak in your engine. Synthetic oil has not been shown to deteriorate engine seals or gaskets, but it might find an existing leak. The smaller molecules of synthetic oil are able to pass through very small cracks and crevices that the larger molecules of the petroleum-based oil cannot. Eventually, those small cracks and crevices lead to bigger problems, with or without synthetic oil. Okay, so myth number 3. My engine will benefit if I use supplemental additives. So these are the bottles of oil additives you put in. Adding commercially available additives to your oil is unnecessary, as reputable motor oils will already be formulated with the additives to ensure optimal engine performance. Additional additives may dilute the effectiveness of the oil or even upset the oil chemistry. So basically what they're saying is, don't waste your money. Right, I have a question. If you change your conventional oil regularly, you don't need synthetic. Is this correct? No, it's incorrect. There are many benefits of using synthetic motor oil that you won't get from just regular oil changes. Synthetic oils protect engines better under heat conditions and flow better under extremely cold conditions. Not only will it make your engine run cooler, but it also smoother because how synthetics are designed. Synthetics are known to withstand heat better and not break down at high temperatures or high loads. In addition, you can expect longer drain intervals. That means oil changes. A better detergent package to clean up impurities, smoother shifting and improved overall levels of performance. Several synthetic oils include esters as well. This offers protection for cold startups by leaving a fine film on ferrous metal components to prevent premature wear in high stress parts like cam lobes. Question. Never use synthetic oil to break in an engine. Correct. This is correct. It is typically better to... it's correct to a certain extent. It is typically better to break in an engine with conventional oil because it allows the piston rings to seat faster. It's not that you can't use synthetic to break in an engine. It is the fact that a higher quality synthetics are more slippery and the process to break in an engine takes longer. Most engine builders prefer to use a conventional oil for the initial break-in and use a conventional oil for the next 300 to 600 miles before switching to a synthetic. Manufacturers are also likely to use conventional oil for the first fill in a new engine and break-in, even when the synthetic is recommended. When it is returned to the dealer for the first service oil change after 600 miles, it will be filled with synthetic. Another question. Once you switch to synthetic, you can't go back and never mix it. So what do we think? Myth? Busted? Okay. Incorrect. It is a myth that you cannot return to using conventional oil after using a synthetic. If this were true, every oil company would need to have a disclaimer on the bottle giving a warning to the consumer. It is perfectly safe to switch between the mixed synthetic and conventional oil. In fact, there are many products on the market that are synthetic conventional blends, semi-synthetic, and in fact synthetic oil is based upon mineral oil. Synthetic blends are largely a cost versus benefit decision. It blends traditional mineral oil with a more technologically advanced synthetic oil, so you get many of the advantages of improved additives and refinement. They are less expensive than full synthetic motor oil while offering higher performance than conventional oil. Excuse me. Synthetic motor oil is artificially created oil that isn't derived from petroleum. That's incorrect. Synthetic oil is a lubricant consisting of the chemical compounds that are artificially made. The base mineral, however, is still overwhelmingly crude oil that is distilled and then modified physically and chemically. The actual synthesis process and composition of additives is generally commercial trade secret and will vary amongst producers. The word synthetic describes the process and not so much the material. For example, white sand is synthesized into glass, but glass is never called synthetic glass. Synthetic oils are like designer oils. It all starts from crude, but through different processes we end up with different groups designed for different applications. Question: if your manufacturer recommends synthetic oil, is it still okay to use conventional oil? No. If the manufacturer recommends synthetic, then you should use what the manufacturer recommends. Engineers design motors to run with a type of oil that meets the engine's specific tolerances and characteristics. Keep in mind, high quality oil isn't just for maintenance, it's also for insurance. This is especially important for those who travel far away from population areas. Alright, so there's the questions and myths. What about multigrade versus single grade oils? Do we even know what multigrade and single grade oils are? And it's a simple answer. Multigrade oils were first developed some 50 years ago to avoid the routine of single grade thinner oil in winter and thicker oil in summer. Multigrade oil can be used all year round. So how do I know if I'm using multigrade oil? In short, if you see the expressions such as 5W30 or 10W40, the oil is multigrade, which simply means that the oil falls into two viscosity grades, in this case 10W and 40. 10W winter and 40 summer, when the engine gets up to operating temperature. Can't call it summer really. Anyway, there you go. That tells you all about engine oils, and it's the same with transmission oil, and it's the same with everything. The key thing here is to always use what the manufacturer recommends, especially with a Huey engine. If you use the old adage of you must use a thicker oil in an older engine, your engine won't run. So be warned. And I'll hope to see you out there.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video. And don't forget to subscribe.